Hello everyone, let's go through the invite module through Administrators version 2. It is located in the left menu. Click on Invite and here will be the invite through Administrators version 2. Go into it. The essence of this module is that here the appointment of administrators and the change of administrators happens automatically through box that you create in advance. That is, it is the same as invite through Administrators version 1. Only here everything happens automatically. There is no need to appoint all administrators, then remove them after completing the task, and so on. The first thing we need to do is specify here the users, the list of users we will invite. That's it. We have specified the list of usernames. This module currently invites only by usernames, and the future and upgrade of the module is planned. Stay tuned for news in our Messenger Sphere chat. Before starting to work with the module, I recommend familiarizing yourself with important information that is located at the bottom of the module. Everything is described here, what and how, where bots are created, and so on. Let's move on. We need to specify the link to the group where we will invite. Let's take, for example, this chat, and we specify the link. As already mentioned below, note that the module, like all modules in the software, works only with supergroups when working with groups. Next, we need to assign the main administrator in our chat. That is, we, for example, take account 1. We go to our chat. Here we add the main administrator. We give the main administrator all the rights that are possible. That is, we have selected this account. We click the apply. We have only one here. Then we pre-assigned all possible rights to this account and click save. Or you have previously entered your chat from this account and assigned it as an administrator. This account will be the one to appoint bots in the first place. And here in the recommendations, this information is also available. As I already said, familiarize yourself with the fact that it is not recommended to use the creator's account as the main account, so use another one that you will assign. Then we need to select the accounts that we'll invite. Since we have assigned account 1 as the main administrator here, we select all the others. That is, these are the accounts that will invite users to the chat. Then we need to create bot tokens, or rather, write bot tokens here. The software will manage the bots through these tokens, and the bots will appoint and remove your accounts from administrators. As stated in the information below, it is recommended to take tokens with different accounts. Let's start by creating the first token. Here we have the botfather bot. We search for it, then the standard procedure. We find the official bot. Click Start. We need to create a bot. Everything is standard here. The name of the bot is specified and the username of the bot is specified. We enter any random name or whatever is more convenient for you to track. Also enter a username. But here follow the prompts of the bot itself to create bots. That's it. We see the token. This token, we inserted here. This is what is written here. We'll replace it with our token. Next, let's move on to creating a second bot. That is, from another account. There, look for yourself what is easier. These are just recommendations on what to create from different accounts. Here, the situation is similar. A bot is also created. The same procedures. And also get the bot token we inserted here. Why two bots? Because one is main, one is additional. Here, we also replace and insert the bot token. Two bots are needed so that if one of the bots, consider these moments in advance, do not create too many accounts immediately, do not launch, and so on, because after a certain number, the bot may catch a flood from Telegram on adding and removing admins. But since we have two bots here, the second bot will take on its role and task. But also consider this, it is better to divide it in half. For example, if you create many accounts, for example, one chat with several hundred accounts, it is better to divide it in two. One task is completed, while one task is being completed in advance. We made a couple more bots and launched them again. I think, in principle, the essence is cleared here. Next, we need to specify the total number of users from one account here. As in all modules, it is specified from and to. If we specify, for example, from 10 to 20, then each account will take a value from this range and execute it. That is, if we need an exact number, we specify the same numbers. Here and here. Here, the number of requests is specified, that is, what the account will do. In this case, 10 requests are specified. This is not the actual invite. If you need the actual invite from each account, we specify the forced number of invited users here. Enable this option. And this option will already be as a forced quantity. But be careful with the forced quantity as well, because if you set too high a value from the account, some users may not be counted in your chat. Pre-test in your specific case. Well, the average value, for example, 10 requests from one account. See how many users are counted, and based on this information, decide how many requests or how many forced invites to set. Again, it depends on your accounts and other factors. Next, we have a delay. This is the delay between invites. That is, from each account between your invitations. More precisely, in this case, requests, there will be such a delay. Let's leave this delay. You look for yourself, maybe higher somewhere, maybe lower somewhere. Again, it all depends on your chat and your accounts, geography, audience, and so on. Next, the maximum flood waiting time is also a standard setting, as in all modules. If the account catches a flood from Telegram during the process, above the specified time, the account will stop performing the task. And if the flood is less than the specified time, then, accordingly, the software will wait for the specified time and continue performing the task from this account. I told you about the forced number of invited users. Next, check the user for presence in the group before inviting. That is, if you already have a flooded chat, that is, there are users there and you have not previously checked the audience that you will invite. Whether they are in your chat or not, then we enable this option in the software. Before inviting a person, we'll check if they are in the chat or not. If they are not in the chat, then it will invite them. If they are already in the chat, then it will not invite them.
Also, the software by default, meaning there is no option here, but it by default checks for invited users in the final chat. But also be careful in these moments. Do not set too high values. To start with, test with 1, 2, 3 accounts. See how it works. How users are counted in your chats, for example, for a specific audience. And then draw conclusions. Next, leave the main group. That is, if this option is enabled, the accounts will leave your chat after completing the task. In principle, In the settings, everything is indicated here. Now let's talk about the setting of the number of threads. There is no option here because the number of threads in this module is taken from the settings of your software. But consider this point: if you have too many threads set in the settings,
it will negatively affect your work in this module because the maximum number of slots in the admins can only be 50.
That is, if you specify, for example, 50 threads in the software settings and invite through administrators will go in 50 threads. There will not be enough slots in the admins for inviting. Therefore, the recommended value is about 10 to 20, maybe a maximum of 25 threads because each thread will invite a user and accordingly, slots in the admins of this chat will be filled. Yes, they will be removed, but if at some point all accounts invite. But in addition, there are also bots in the admins that you assign. There are also owners. Perhaps you have some other bots there, and accordingly, there is not enough space, so the recommended value is no more than 20 threads approximately. In my settings, I have set 5 threads, which is sufficient. Depending on the tasks, 10 to 15 threads are set, in extreme cases. As I already said, 20 is set for objective and understandable reasons. Next, we simply launch our task and monitor the chat. Then the software connects and starts performing certain actions. Here in the log, if you pre-launch, for example, in one thread, you want to see, that is, consider this point, the first bot is assigned by this main administrator that you chose, and the second bot is assigned by your first account from this list. That is, from the accounts that invite, both accounts remain in the chat.
And the account that assigns the second bot leaves the chat in the end.
That is, practically all accounts perform the invite, except one from this list, that is, if you selected accounts here. For example, 30 pieces, then in fact, 29 will perform the invite because the first account will assign one bot, and the second bot will be assigned by this first account. The one that is chosen, then that's it. The software writes all the information in the log. As we can see in the chat, the invitations are sent according to our delays, and our delays are from 5 to 10 seconds between invitations.
That is, everything happens automatically. Bots assign administrators.
Administrators invite users, grant them rights, remove user rights. Bots remain in the chat, then remove these administrators. And depending on your throughput, these bots will change. For example, if you assign 100 of your accounts to perform invitations, depending on your throughput, for example, if it's 5 threads, the accounts will change until all accounts complete this task. The execution is going, as we can see, invitations are being sent.
The main thing, I repeat once again, there is important information here. Be sure to read it carefully before using it, and in general. In the future, read the information in all software, because it contains a lot and explains a lot, preventing you from making any minor mistakes, insignificant problems, or even major problems. The module works quite quickly, even with such precision, depending, of course, on your delays and pauses. In the log, you can read what it did if you are interested in the actions, who assigned to them, and so on. Re-enter our chat, see that the number of participants has increased. Let's go, for example, to recent chat actions and see that permissions were assigned, removed, invitations were sent, and so on. Next, let's open, for example, the statistics for databases. The essence is the same as in all software. This parsing database contains your list of users that you inserted. That is, if, for example, you didn't complete a task in one database. In the future, you simply choose to use the database. Check the box and choose the path to this database. You can save it using this button wherever it is convenient for you and rename it. And here you select this database, and the software will continue to work based on this database and will take those users that it hasn't taken before. Next, the second database is the result of the work in this task. Let's open it. Here we go as with all databases. See that we have 40 rows with results. And remember, as I told you, one account from this list assigns the second bot and does not participate in invitations. Accordingly, initially, 4 accounts should have been invited 40 rows with 10 requests from each. As we can see in the database, there are successful statuses. Here they are. In this case, 34 users have statuses. For example, this status means that the end user has too many chats and channels on the account, so they cannot be invited, and users also have privacy settings. That is, this status means that the user's privacy settings do not allow them to be invited to chats, and this status means successfully invited. And I repeat once again, if you haven't completed a task, for example, haven't worked on the entire database, you simply specify the path to this database. The folder is written here. You can go directly to the folder by clicking with this database and continue along this path, using the Use Database setting. There is nothing difficult about it. If in the future you want, you can delete all the users from the chat, as we can see here. You can delete, for example, your bots from the account, either from the administrator's account or from the account that assigned. As we can see, 2 bots. And keep in mind, once again, the point that from this list of accounts that will invite, 1 account will assign the second bot. And accordingly, it will not invite users, so the value is 1 less. And then test, experiment with delays, limits. Remember what I said about not all users being counted if you set too high a value, and about the fact that the precision is taken from the software settings. Then you can already launch a couple of accounts yourself. Look at the log, look at the information, calculate what the software does. Follow, but for your general development. So in principle, I have explained everything, so good luck to everyone. Goodbye.